Hi, my name is Callum and I'm an international market analyst talking to you today about Australian wholesale meats, or AWM, and their market entry into the South Korean meat processing market. Operating out of three different locations, Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria, the Australian small to medium-sized business is looking to expand its operations into an international market of South Korea. Recording revenue of $3.69 million in 2018, the international market entry will assist AWM in generating high levels of sales and increasing overall profit. At current, the Australian wholesale meat market, valued at $13.1 billion, is a well-established and therefore saturated market that has recorded low levels of growth over the last 5 years. The market experienced a negative 0.8% growth between 2015 and 2020. Although a market growth declined, the overall levels of meat consumption has increased in Australia. This negative recorded growth is partly due to international demand of Australian meats increasing, reducing the overall amount of produce available for domestic suppliers to distribute to the domestic market. Domestic industry revenue is expected to experience higher amounts of growth between 2021 and 2025, but only at a rate of 0.5% annually, increasing to the value of the market to foot $13.4 billion by 2025. This being said, this growth will face challenges of increasing demand for healthier protein alternatives such as poultry and plant-based proteins. With higher levels of health-conscious consumers, local suppliers are being pushed to diversify their product ranges or look towards globalization in order to stay in the industry. The identified target market of South Korea is seen to have high potential as the ever-increasing affluent Korean market is known to have an already developed taste for Australian meat products, specifically beef. In Korea, there is forecasted growth for the meat consumption, which in turn increases the demand for high-quality Australian-grown meat imports. Recorded growth of 1.8% is expected to continue over the next 5 years, making the Korean meat industry a higher growth industry than that of Australia and therefore the more desirable. Australian meat imports accounted for over 90% of total market share in 2019, a key indicator that the opinion of Australian meat is well known and well loved in Korea. December 12, 2014 was a historic day for Australia's fourth largest bilateral trade partner, with the Korean Free Trade Agreement entering into force. The agreement covers Australian exports for significantly improved market access and the elimination of tariff for almost all exports, as well as the protection and enhancement of investments in both directions. The agreement significantly improves AWM's chances of successfully entering the Korean market, with competitive prices and fewer barriers to entry. High levels of competition from both internal and competitors and external industries such as the grocery and supermarket sectors, the Australian meat wholesaling market is considered to have high levels of competition. A highly fragmented market, with the four largest companies only accounting for 6.6% of market share, which in turn means that AWM is fighting for only a small share of a non-growth industry. This high-level competition results in difficulty obtaining or holding a level of comparative advantage over other competitors, and therefore little differentiation between suppliers in the market is observed. On the contrary, the Korean market for imported and packaged meat is quickly growing and diversifying. Consumer trends are changing from low-cost alternatives to high-quality luxury food products. Beef consumption is forecasted at 590,000 metric tons, 61% of which will be imported goods. This high level of requirement for imported goods is due to local production of beef declining over the years 2016 to 2018, and this number is set to continue declining as a result to small to medium scale farmers exiting the market. AWM will be able to take advantage of lower domestic producers and a higher requirement for international imports, increased demand for luxurious goods, food items, and higher consistent annual growth rates than that of Australian market. The Wholesale International Process Model is a recommended mode of Australian wholesale meats market entry into South Korea. This will allow for internationalization to occur gradually and progress as the industry develops the knowledge to manage further risk. The first stage for AWM is to export goods via the utilization of cold chain logistics to the target market, eventually progressing to higher risk modes such as foreign direct investment. Initially, it is advised that AWM is to begin exporting only beef products, as this is the sector experiencing the highest level of growth within the host market. As Koreans already are under the assumption that Australian beef is of the highest quality, once exportation of beef is operational, the next product that should be exported is poultry, as the demand is also increasing year on year. To ease the pressure and mitigate potentially high levels of risk for market entry, engagement in multiple strategic partnerships is recommended. AWM and Tourism Investment Queensland will work together, as well as industry organisations and international allies, to promote better access to overseas markets and decision makers for Queensland companies, such as AWM. TIQ will work with exporters, enabling development of international market skills, as well as access and sharing of market intelligence and business connections that will aid market entry. Meat and Livestock Australia, or MLA, is the second strategic partnership that is recommended. This partnership has the purpose of fostering long-term prosperity of the Australian red meat and livestock industry. This public company assists producers' developments by sharing market research, as well as information that contributes to profitability, sustainability, and global competitive advantage. AWA can access valuable information regarding the growing demand for Australian red meat, both globally and domestically. It is recommended that AWM markets their products through an e-commerce subsidiary of ssg.com. As greater numbers of Koreans are transitioning into online purchases for their food and grocery products, utilization of ssg.com's already developed platform and customer base will assist greater market reach for the AWM products. Utilization of pre-developed marketing channels will minimize costs and more than likely result in higher levels of sales than if standalone marketing tactics were implemented. Koreans are increasing the levels of demand for luxurious and high-quality items across the board, an ongoing trend as the country's residences become an increasingly affluent due to the massive economic growth of the nation. A premium pricing strategy is recommended for AWM's products, and it has been identified that consumers are willing to pay more for higher quality organic Australian beef, as it believed to be a healthier option than that of other importing nations. I hope these recommendations and market findings will assist AWM in their further development of their globalization. Thank you.